Okay, so we are going to assume that we have already read the article and marked it up. So if I go into that article, you can see that I numbered my paragraphs and I marked any notes that I thought were important. The prompt is asking if school should start later, and it's telling us that we are going to agree. So we agree, school should start later. We just need to read the claims that are already written and then find evidence that supports them. So my first claim says schools will benefit from starting later because adolescents require more sleep. Okay, so I'm going to look in my article for the paragraph that talks about students and adolescents and the amount of sleep that they need. And I can see that that is in paragraph 4 here. So I circled that number, 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep. And then right above that number, it says natural biological tendency for teens to stay up late and want to sleep in. So I'm going to use that evidence as my evidence to support this claim. So I can't just drop it in. I first have to introduce it a little bit. So I'm just going to say research has shown. And that's a good enough way to introduce your evidence without just dropping the quote. So research has shown that teens require 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep each night. And I also want to add in how they're known to sleep in and stay up late, so that 8.5 hours of sleep probably isn't really happening. So I'm going to say they require 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep each night and tend to stay up late and sleep in. Okay, so this information did not come from my brain, so I need to cite my source. So if I go back into my article, I know that Mary Johnson is the person who wrote this article, and there are no page numbers down there, so I'm just going to use the author's last name as my citation. So in parentheses, I'm going to write Johnson and put the period at the end. So that's it for that piece of evidence. So now I need to move down to my analysis. So I know that in general, teens don't get enough sleep, okay? And I know that they stay up late, and I know that they want to sleep in, and school starts too early, so they can't sleep in. So that's going to be kind of where my analysis leads. So I'm just going to say, since teens generally stay up late, they are not likely to get the full amount of sleep they need if school starts at 8 a.m. Oops. Okay, so this was my own words, my own thoughts and opinions, so I don't need to cite it because it's not something that I got from somewhere else. So now I'm done with my first chunk. I know that teens don't get enough sleep. Okay, so in addition, early start times can lead to mental or physical consequences. So now I'm going to go back into paragraph 5 where I remember learning about mental consequences, and I have a reliable source here in Zoe Lofgren. So I can assume that since she is representative, an elected member of Congress, that the things she says can be trusted. So I'm going to use her direct quote, and I'm just going to go from there. So first I need to introduce her and tell where I got this information from. So I'll say Representative Zoe Lofgren and then I want to say, like, why is she credible? Well, she's a member of Congress. Okay, now I'm just going to drop her direct quote right in there. Explained. We should say that she explained it. Crazy. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to start with my quotation marks. Over time, sleep deprivation deprivation leads to serious consequences. For academic achievement, this is a long one. I think I spelled that wrong. Social behavior and health and safety of our nation's youth. I'm just going to say health and safety. Okay, I'll end the quotation right there with my quotation marks. That should be in. And then even though Zoe Lofgren said this, she's not the one that wrote it. So I'm still going to say Johnson as my citation. So to analyze, I might be able to say like, okay, so I know that if there's these serious consequences, they could lead to like lifelong problems. And so I'm just going to say these consequences could have lifelong effects. On students and could be easily prevented by starting school later. And again, analysis does not need a citation. So your job is now to finish claim number 3. So talk about some evidence that can support your claim and then analyze it on your own.